Oh, today we are talking about escaping the damn mental prison that we put ourselves into every given day. Can I get a hallelujah?
Hallelujah. I'm laughing because as we went live this was the 17th time in the last 17 minutes, Leo goes, what are we talking about today?
When you do this every day, I mean, we have so much to give and we have so much content to create, and the frameworks, they're all good. You guys are getting so much from it. You're changing your lives. You're taking these actionables and using them on a daily basis, and it's working. But sometimes it's like, what are we talking about again today? What are we talking about today, Andrew?
So we're talking about escaping the mental prison so many people put themselves in. All good?
So damn hot.
Oh, it's hot. Tea. Yeah, hot tea. Hot tea. So many times I see people who get caught up, and myself included. For years, I lived in this mental prison, and it's of our own making. And I think of the story of the elephant as elephants are at a young age, only have a certain amount of strength. And the elephant keepers say that you tie them to a small little pole, and the rest of their life, when they're a little bitty baby elephant, they'll pull and try to get away from it. But when they realize they can't, so once they're big and strong and they can pull it out easily, they never break away, because they learned when they was little they could never pull away from the thing that chained them. And I think so many people are living in, for so many years, myself included, for many years, in this mental prison of being broke, overwhelmed, stressed, all of these negative programs of myself that I didn't believe I could break out of.
Yep.
All because of something that someone or some life experience or some trauma or something that happened to us. And now we live in this mental prison, and it's only mental. It's of our own making.
Yeah, it's sad.
It's very sad.
It's really sad to see.
So my prayer today, by the end of this show, is you have not only a clear picture of what the mental prison is, but you've identified in your own life places that you were meant to soar higher than you're currently flying, and exactly how to make that happen.
So how are you guys doing? What's been up? What has been new this week? Type it in the chat. I want to know. I want to shout it out. It's always so fun getting this time to really say hey to you guys. Hey, Marilyn, good to see you.
Hello there, my friend.
Good afternoon, Lori.
Hey there. Mr. Bill.
This is Bill's 22nd time out of 22. Are we 20? Is it 22?
This is day 23.
23. Wow. Bill's here 23 out of 23. What's up, Mark? I can't wait till it's like, hey, Bill, thanks for being on episode 3,426 out of 2,246.
You realize that's a decade from now?
Is it?
3,000?
Oh, wow.
3,000? Yeah.
That's crazy.
Look at 300 a year, 356 a year.
Well, good.
65 a year. There's my dyslexia.
Well, we're going to keep doing this because we love what we do, and we're here to help you guys become the best, most incredible version of yourselves. Hey, Elizabeth. Hey, Sheila. All right. So, guys, we are talking about escaping the mental prison. And by the end of this episode, not only are you going to have the key, but you're going to have the way to pick that lock, open it up, break free, break loose, and know exactly what to do next.
Yeah.
So everyone type in the chat, escape, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to escape those invisible chains that hold us in these invisible walls that we create for ourselves within our minds. So that's going to be number one, guys. We're going to go over 5 main bullet points. And number 1 is going to be the invisible chains, how your mind creates its own walls. Because we all have, did I just switch sides with you? There you go. Let me turn this camera on. We all have invisible walls that we hit on any given day. Whether it is fear of failure, whether it's not being good enough, whether this idea that you're too young or too old or too anything, we all have these invisible walls, invisible barriers that we bump into. But let's just say, let's compare it with Andrew, right? Andrew doesn't have that same anymore fear of failure. Andrew doesn't have that same level of fear of failure that he did or that I did 2 years ago. So if my 2 years ago self was competing against Andrew and we're getting towards the same goal, I would keep boom, 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 hitting myself on the head against this wall, this invisible wall, while Andrew would just breeze through. That's the difference between high achievers, the ones who believe in themselves and who keep consistently breaking out of their own mental prisons,
Right.
to the people who stay comfortable in this invisible room that holds them back so much.
Yeah, imagine you're in a glass house, you're in a glass box, and you're seeing all of the beauty outside. You're seeing the birds, you're seeing the wind blowing, you're seeing the trees, you're seeing all of the things going on around you, and you're always wanting to move toward it, but every time you go to step into that freedom is as if you hit a wall, as if you hit this thing of our own making oftentimes. And when we realize that it is a mental prison we live in, and I'm not saying that there aren't cases that aren't real. Some people really have sickness. Some people really have challenges. We have things we have to overcome. So I'm not saying that the wall is always of our own making or always non-existent, but I'm saying you can literally do anything you set your mind to. And whenever we are holding back because of some program or some belief, now we begin to live in this mental prison of years or, God forbid, even decades of whether it be a cycle of generational curses, not being wealthy, not being healthy, not being well, not being charismatic, because somebody told you when you was little you talk too much. Well, maybe your gift was to be a speaker, talk more. So now you begin to realize that the thing that was holding you back is actually the thing meant to propel you forward.
Yeah, and what Andrew was saying is that most of these beliefs are installed without your permission. Right? Somebody said one day that you're not a good speaker, or that, you're annoying, or any of these words that are critical to a young person, right? Or anyone in general, right? Because still someone right now could say something to you and then you choose to believe it.
Yeah.
Right? Someone said when I was younger that I didn't make sense, that when I talked, no one could understand me. So I believed for so long that I was never going to be a speaker, that I was never going to present. I was never on stage because I was so scared, because I had this wall that I created, I put up for myself because someone else said that I wasn't going to be a good speaker. Now, one day I decided to say, hey, what if I challenge that idea? Why am I not a good speaker? Where did this idea come from? And I looked at it on a piece of paper. You're not a good speaker. And I realized that that is an invisible wall that I put up for myself because I believed that I wasn't ready. I believed that I wasn't smart enough. And I kept myself boxed in for so long and never, ever, ever, ever broke through. Now, the first event I ever did, the first time I ever spoke, I got all of my friends, all my family, a lot of students, all these people together in a room, and I broke out by doing a speech. None of them have ever heard me speak before because I've never done it. But every single person came up and said, Leo, that was incredible. Thank you so much. My life was changed. I feel like I just broke through of a massive thing that's been holding me back so long. And what that did, I decided to accept that. I said, okay, my old belief that I wasn't a good speaker, now I choose to believe that, hey, I'm pretty good. Now I'm going to start saying that to myself on a consistent basis and just keep going and going and going. And now I have not stopped since. I've spoken, I've yapped, I've done the skill set building, I've done the things that have allowed me to be a better speaker. But imagine if I let that one person who told me that I wasn't a good speaker hold me back for the rest of my life.
And imagine the impact that would be missed, and the mission that would be missed, and the calling, frankly, that would be missed as you're helping thousands and hundreds of millions of people who have watched your videos over the years. It's crazy. And I think as each of you see your circle of influence, something I often say is you cannot stop your influence. You can only choose how you use it. And as you're stepping into that circle of influence, being able to break free from your own holdbacks is going to be the make or break difference.
Absolutely. So number 2, guys, type in the chat story, spam it in the chat. And by the way, when you're spamming this in the chat, it puts it out to the Facebook algorithm, puts it out to the YouTube algorithm that spreads this to more great people in the sphere of influence, right? And that's what we want. We want people to come from you. We want the right people to see this. And that's what we ask for you. So type it in the chat story, because this idea that I'm not ready, I don't have the right resources, I'm not smart enough, those are all stories. Because whether you tell yourself you are smart enough or that you're not, you're going to be true. You're going to be correct. But it's just a story that you're constantly drilling back into your brain. So I want to break down some of these stories, right? Because when someone says, I'm not smart enough, where did that come from? Really ask yourself, where did it come from? Why do I say that I'm not smart enough? Typically what happens, you'll go back to a scenario that happened 5, 10, 20 years ago when someone called you an idiot, or someone called you dumb, or someone called you a klutz. Someone said a specific thing that really got to you, and it drilled into your heart for so long, where then you started to question yourself like, hey, maybe I am a klutz because I just dropped this one thing, or I did this one thing wrong, or I was holding 5 things and I dropped it. Maybe I am a klutz. Maybe they are right. So then guess what? What a beautiful thing for the devil to say, got him, because now that belief is instilled in you. It is a story that you believe in. It is something that will ingrain within you and be the decision maker for the things that you do. Because if I'm going to go do anything, if I'm going to go do a paper, if I'm going to go do a sales conversation, my brain's going to instantly instill the ideas and the action that I'm dumb, I'm not smart enough. And wow, what a crazy thing that our minds do.
So I grew up on a farm. You want to look up golden comet chickens? Show everybody what a golden comet looks like.
You said a golden comet chicken?
Golden comet.
Okay.
That's our laying hens we had. And I remember always going to the neighbors. They had horses. And I'd see that one little electric fence about 12 inches off the ground and these great, big, tall, beautiful horses inside that fence. And I would think, like, all they have to do is step over it. But that little fence would keep them held up. We had golden comets growing up. These were our laying hens. And every once in a while, we'd let them hatch little baby chickens. Most of the eggs we took and ate. That's what they look like. Is everybody seeing that?
Yeah.
All right. Type it in the chat. Golden comet. Give a farm lesson today. So one day, I'm walking through the woods. I was always going out in the woods. And I was squirrel hunting. And I'm looking at squirrels with my 22 to plink. And I find this eagle egg, this nest, and the mom had died. So I grabbed the eagle egg and I rushed back to the hen house where our golden comets were. And we had a setting hen sitting there on her eggs. So I stuffed the eagle egg under her and she accepts it. A few weeks go by. The little baby chickens start hatching. The little eagle hatches. We always clipped the chicken's wings so they couldn't fly it out of the fence. So we had the little chicken fences 2 high, one stacked on top of the other. And a few weeks goes by, chickens hatch, the eagle hatches. And I'm always going out and checking on the little chickens and the little eagle. I'm going out there every day. I'm gathering the eggs. I'm checking on the little ones. And one day I'm walking up to the chicken house and I hear a conversation in the chicken house. And there's an eagle flying over. This beautiful eagle's flying over the chicken house. And I hear the eagle look at the chicken and says to the chicken, I should fly. And I hear the chicken telling the eagle, but you're a chicken. You can't fly. And they have this back and forth until eventually the eagle says, you're right. I'm a chicken. I can't fly. And never even sprouted his wings. All because of the confidence or lack of confidence the chicken placed in him. Now, I say that little story because I can relate to that. I'm sure you can. We had these golden comets. I was always watching them try to fly, but because they had a wing clip, they couldn't. And I watch as we begin to be integrated in the communities and the people we hang around. And I've seen that actually in real life play out many times when you have someone who says, hey, you can't do that. Like, it's not. That's for rich people to do. You could never be there. Like, yeah, a second home. Yeah, you couldn't do that. A vacation. Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? All of these negative things. And they're saying, hey, you're not an eagle. You're a chicken. But you know you was born to be a freaking eagle. Maybe you was hatched with the chickens, but you was born to be an eagle and you were meant to fly. Now, I share that little story, that little parable, as I would call it, because as the eagle hangs out with, begins to believe that they are. Now, eagles are beautiful and they fly so much higher and better than the chickens. Yet who we hang around is who we become. And I think this is so important for all of us to say, am I hanging out with the eagles or am I hanging out with the chickens?
And with that, sometimes the chickens don't know any better.
Yeah.
They haven't done it for themselves. And we'll bring it back to people. The people haven't done it for themselves. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's someone you intimately know. Maybe it's yourself. You maybe haven't broken through yet, and those people haven't broken through yet. So sometimes they're just trying to protect you.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, you shouldn't do that. Uncle Bob tried entrepreneurship when he failed, right? And then that becomes your story. Like, oh, maybe you're right.
Yeah.
And it's so sad to see because everyone has the capability, right? We're in the business of blueprints. We're in the business of creating a blueprint personalized for an individual so that they can succeed financially, so they can succeed physically, so they can succeed mentally. So we understand that we can take someone who has been in the rough of it, the absolute rough of it, and we can take them to a successful point in their lives.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing, the first thing that we do for most individuals is we say, what are your limiting beliefs? What are the things that have been told to you that have held you back for so long? Because we got to absolutely destroy those first.
Now, here's something I think is so important to understand, though. Back to the golden comets. I've been on chickens today.
There you go.
Is they would fly out of the pen. And when they would fly out of the pen, we would clip one of the wings, clip the feathers off so that they couldn't fly. And so we'd let it go a few months, and they would get where they would be comfortable in the pen. But then they would eventually try again. They'd fly out, and we clipped their wings to protect them. This is a true story. One night, when all of their wings are clipped and they're all in the hen house, a fox, we had woods across the street. I did squirrel hunting a lot. And a fox come over and got in the hen house and took out a collection of our hens.
Killed all of them?
Not all of them, but I don't remember how many, but a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And I remember this happening, and I'm going, literally the very thing we meant to protect them, because if they flew out, they would run away and they'd get caught by coyotes. They would all the things. The very thing that we meant to protect them, clipping their wings, actually killed them because they couldn't fly away. And I share that because the very thing that maybe protected you when you were little, don't talk to strangers. Oh, you're this or you're that. The very things, the very protections we come up with as a kid, maybe the very things that kill us as an adult, kill our dreams, kill our goals, kill our ambitions, kill our desires, kill the calling that we know we were meant for. Because I'm telling you, I believe everyone on this stream today was meant for substantially more than you're currently living. And all it takes is a minor shift for that to happen. And the feathers grow back out and you say, you know what? I was meant for more.
Yes. This is so good, guys. What I want you to do, if you have a notepad in front of you, write down one negative belief that you've been telling yourself multiple times. Maybe it is, I am not smart enough. Maybe it's I'm too young or too old. Maybe it is I don't have enough energy. Maybe it's I don't make enough money. I can't make enough money. I'm too broke. Whatever that limiting belief is, you don't have to type in the chat, guys. Keep that one to yourself. Put it down on a piece of paper and just look at it right in front of you. This is one of the most impactful things that could be done, because we could talk about theory all day. We could talk about how important it is to, understand these stories. We can talk about the chickens, all the things combined. But if you don't actually do it, if you don't actually look at it and do an actual breakthrough right in front of you, it never actually means anything. So that's why, on this show, we are all about action. We're all about, hey, right now, take that pen and paper, put it to boom, 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 let's get it done. So now that you have that written down, and if you're thinking about it, guys, the biggest limiting belief that most people say is I'm not good enough. So you might as well just write that one down as well. What I want you to do is take a look at that and ask yourself, where did this come from? Did it come from your parents? Did it come from an ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend? Did it come from a teacher, a principal? Did it come from a coach? Maybe it was a soccer coach that said you weren't good enough and they benched you the whole time. Where did this start? And I want you to understand that this is just a story that you're telling yourself. Because I promise you, you sit right here and we coach you and we say, you got this, you are smart enough. And we show you why. You're going to do the work and you're going to get it done. That's how we are as coaches. That's our job as coaches. But now for you, you're currently telling yourself this story. After you've asked yourself, where did it come from? I want you to cross it out. I want you to cross it out completely, do a big X. You can draw over it, whatever you want to do. And I just want you to write this down. I want you to write an empowering belief that you can replace it with. But for example, if it is, I'm not good enough, and you cross it out, I don't want you to just put, I am good enough. Because your mind's going to go right back into a place of your original patterns that say, no, you're not. You're not good enough though, because you failed in this business and because you failed here, because you lost money here. Your brain starts repeating this cycle over and over and over again. So instead, what I want you to do is you write down something that you cannot deny. If you say, for example, I'm not smart enough, what I did as I crossed that out and I said, each day I am becoming smarter and smarter and smarter through my actions. Smarter and smarter, right? Each day I am becoming smarter and smarter through my actions. Because say that out loud. When you say something like that out loud, you cannot deny it. Each and every single one of you that are watching this live, you're learning different concepts, you're hearing different stories, you're taking different actionables. That is resulting in you becoming smarter. So if you say to yourself, every day I am becoming smarter and smarter, it is absolutely true. But what happens in turn is the I'm not smart enough starts to be removed as a story. And you'll start to see the decisions that you make on every given day are going to be powered by this new idea that you are getting smarter and smarter. Now, no longer does this story hold you back. It's no longer an autopilot chain on you that doesn't allow you to do things. You're going to see that it's going to happen today. This switch is going to happen in you. It's going to be like a flicker of like, wow, I don't know what that was, but all of a sudden I'm feeling a little differently. And it might be at 2 a.m. You might wake up one day and just feel like, wow, things changed.
That's amazing. And I think that is the power of consistency. Because as you're writing this down, every day you validate it. I read a book. I'm getting smarter.
Right, it's a vote.
It's a vote toward the thing you believe or say that you are becoming. And it's an undeniable thing. Now, as you step into this, there's a Bible verse that says it's not wise to compare yourself among yourselves. Why? Because if we want to feel good about ourselves, we can always find somebody doing worse. Or if we're someone who has a low value of ourselves, we can always find someone doing better and say, man, I'm not doing good enough. Yeah. But if we can actually compare ourselves against our future self we want to become, every day we can take an action step toward there. And so when we begin to compare, we are building a mental prison for ourselves. Mm-hmm. You want to dig into that?
Yeah, comparison is one of the hardest things nowadays because of social media, right? It's this fact that we, on a consistent basis, can go into everyone's window, and it's a fake window, right? Because it's not their real life, but it's like everyone in their window can put a highlight reel of their lives. Ours is real because we're watching it, we're in real time. Yeah. But we now have access to millions of people's windows, fake windows, at all time. And it's like being in jail, right? And seeing outside of the jail window someone else's beachfront villa on Instagram, right? You see it on Instagram, you see it in front of you, and you're just like, oh, right? Yeah. But you didn't see the work that went behind it. Or you didn't see the fakeness that it really is. Yeah. They might be going through the hardest time in the world right now, but spent their last couple thousand on a beach, on going to in front of a beachfront villa and taking a picture, but we still feel that same comparison. Like, wow, I'm not there yet. Why can I not go? Why are they able to do those things? What's wrong with me? So what we had said before to these stories that you tell yourself, comparison adds so much weight to it. And I feel for you guys, right? We've gone through it so many times because as we're building, as we're improving ourselves every day, there's a world of comparison that we can have out there. And I get it. Like, I get how hard it could be sometimes when you're going through a hard time. So you start scrolling, you're like, oh, yeah. You start to feel that depression, right? Of like, damn, right? Am I really not that? Like, what do they have that I don't? And it hurts, but everyone goes through it. Everyone has those moments. but I don't want this to be a sap story because I want to discuss the actual strategies to stop comparing and to start actually building your journey. And this is the most important part. So this is topic number 3, guys, is how to stop staring at someone else's window.
Oh, this is good. And I want to just take a moment to talk about my favorite topic since Bill brought it up. Me.
Okay.
He said, I'm impressed with the growth I have seen in you, Andrew, the last 4 years. And then went on to come into about the lives we're changing. And I just wanted to say thanks, Bill. I feel honored and grateful every day to be able to do this show alongside my brother and to build up. And that was a joke earlier, actually. My favorite topic's not me. I'll commend you now. I get to do this show along one of my favorite people. But in all sincerity, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be sharing this. And I think this is what changes that. Because as we are comparing ourselves, my gosh, look at how they've grown. Look at what this has happened, or look at what this person is doing. And we're scrolling through, as you said, Leo, social media. And our prayer is here, you get to see the good and the bad. You get to see behind the show. You get to see we don't have bad days per se because we choose to make them good.
We have a shit ton of bad moments, I'll tell you that.
You get to see our tough moments and our good moments. You get to see the fact that behind the scenes, we go through crap.
Yeah.
Not everything goes as planned. I recently, Leo, you hosted the social media meetup in the Bay a few months back, I guess it was now. And I remember you posting it on, 4 minutes before it was to start? And there was like 3 people. 0 people. I don't remember. And then you're like, the real, right? This is behind the scenes of the stressful moment when you're hosting a meetup and this happens. And I share that reminder because some of you guys are going to be doing meetups this year to find your people. And I'm detached from the outcome. If I do a meetup and 4 people come and we have dinner together and a good chat, that was a win for me.
Yeah.
If 40 or in the past, as some do, 100 show up, well, that's a win too. And so now I become detached from the outcome. I'm actually doing the thing to validate or to build my growth into the future self I know I'm meant to be.
Well, people compare their level 2 to someone else's level 40.
That's good.
And that's the hardest part, right? I know now not to compare my sales skills with you because you're at level 50. I'm at level 26, right? But prior
give
to
yourself
that,
enough credit.
Prior to that, I was at level 2.
Yeah.
And I would compare myself with all these big sales guys that are on social media, right? And there's some guys that are ba, right?
Crushing it.
And I'm like, yo, how are they doing that? I'm never going to get there.
Yeah.
And then you start to compare yourself with some younger guys who are doing it. And you're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But what we don't realize is that those people have been at it, right? They felt the same thing, but they said, you know what? I can keep watching your success. Or I could say I'm inspired, so I'm going to start.
Yeah.
I'm going to start. I'm going from level 2 to level 3 to level 4 to level 5.
One of our mastermind members always say, there's no elevator to success. You got to take the stairs.
Absolutely. So when my mentor told me, Leo, stop comparing your level 2 to level 40, it changed my life forever because I didn't stop comparing, but I did stop looking at my life like I'm there, right? That I'm already at level 40 and they're doing better. I started looking at my life like I'm at level 2. I'm just getting started and I have to put in a lot of work first. And they did a lot of work. That's why they're at level 40 right now. It's because they put in so much work. So while I can be inspired by you, and I will always be inspired by you, I won't compare because comparison is going to take away all the joy that I have, all the efforts that I've been putting into. And I have to cheer myself on in the moments and have my tribe and my people cheer me on.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to keep me focused from going from level 4 to level 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7. But guess what? Once I'm on level 10, other people start comparing their level 1 to my level 10.
So true.
So you have to understand the cycles that go on. But once you see that once in your life, you can say, okay, it makes sense. So what are the things that I want to focus on? What are the things that Leo wants to focus on? Okay, I want to focus on my body, my health, my family. I want to focus on servitude and those aspects because I love that and I want to do that for the rest of my life. And because of that, now I don't have to compare myself to this person's yacht.
Right.
Or this person's great sales skills or this person's awesome six pack and crazy, amazing whatevers that they have that I don't have yet.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know what
I
I
think
mean?
looking at other people who are ahead, what you just described and what it's meant for is to be inspiration. I pray we inspire all of you every day. And that doesn't mean that it's discouraging, because I think the thing that has happened so many times is an unrealistic expectation of someone's growth, right?
Right.
And you don't see someone who is grinding behind the scenes, going through crap, dealing with the sleepless nights sometimes, or getting the hustle done. You just see the win. You just see the highlight reel.
Yeah.
And so as you are looking at those who are winning, you're looking at that as inspiration. Thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you so much. I forget sometimes that we can put everyone's stuff up there. So thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Les. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Mary. Oh, you guys are great. You guys are so great, and you guys are the reason that we keep doing this. And as we go through our hard days, our hard moments, rather, seeing your guys' support and seeing, what you guys get from this is what continues to allow us to, take a couple hours, do this show, prep for it, come on here and serve. It really means so much to us that you guys are here and that you guys are learning. Great. Take the action though. Take the action. Say, okay, yeah, this makes sense. I like these guys, right? Let me use some of the things that they're saying.
Yeah. And share it out, by the way. Share it out. Your friends need this.
Absolutely. So let's go to number 4, guys. Number 4 is my favorite because it's one of the two main philosophies that we follow on any given day, and that is of Kaizen, right? That is of 1%. Everyone type in the chat, 1%. 1%. If you got 1% better every single day, by the end of the year, you would be 37 times greater in that specific area than you were before. Right? Mental freedom, guys, is not going to happen all at once. You know that. It's built through small, intentional repetition and steps on any given day, on every given day. It's small steps, small steps, small steps. Right? If I'm making a fire, I want to make a pretty nice fire where it'll be consistent. It'll stay in a warm essence, and me and the friends can just campfire around it. Right? That's a much better fire than a huge blaze where like, whoa, and it goes away. That's how I see a lot of people's motivation and a lot of people's action is that one big day of like crazy action, boom, all these things. And the next day it's gone because they're burnt out.
Yeah.
I like seeing the little fire. It's nice. It keeps us warm. It's nothing huge, but it stays on, right?
Yeah.
Every moment, every day, we're just keep on keeping on. And while you're keep on keeping on, what you might not notice in your DNA is little tiny consistency molecules are forming. Little atoms of consistency and discipline are forming in your blood and in your veins. And then you start to then become a character that is consistent and is disciplined and that is relentless in your aspirations, because every day you just took a little bit of action, and every time you take a little bit of action, a little shot of goodness is shot into your veins.
I think it's important to just remember that we celebrate the small wins, but that we are consistent every single day toward the goal, to the objective.
Yeah.
And I have to mention this because I think perspective is everything. And we're looking at the big screen up here, and Elizabeth's comment comes up. Excuse me. And she says, "You're inspiring me every day." And on the screen, it says, "You're inspiring me every day. Hand, pink, wave. Hand dash pink dash wave." And I thought, what kind of secret message is Elizabeth trying to send us? And then I looked down on my little screen, and it's an emoji. It's a pink hand waving. And I got a chuckle out of it because I'm seeing the pink hand waving, and I know when Elizabeth put it out that she put a pink hand waving. But our interpreter, our third-party eCam, says that says the words rather than the emoji. And I think that is many times what happens in our life, though, is we'll say something and someone will hear something different, right? We post something meant to be inspiration, and somebody else views it as ego and pride, and somebody else goes, yeah, I thought they wasn't doing too well, right? And everybody has a different perspective. But I was talking to someone this morning, and I said, if you do this for God and you do this for you, now you are more detached from the outcome. Doesn't mean you don't care about the outcome. You still want people to win. You still want the right outcome to happen.
Yeah.
But now it's no longer about the outcome. You don't have the emotional up and down. Like I said about the meetup, I've done meetups of 6 people. I've done meetups of 106 people and more. And it doesn't matter the size when you're doing it for the reason, the right reason. Now I know the 6 people at that meetup was meant to be there, and I know the 106 at the next one was meant to be there. It just comes together as it should.
And the most important part is, like, let's just say meetups that we're throwing, right? We'll focus so much on the metric. Same thing with me with content. I focus so much on the views, the likes, the engagement, those type of things. But now I'm in the more mature mindset where if we're throwing an event, if I'm posting content, it's the action of doing it, right? Done is better than perfect. So if I get it done, what did I learn from it? What did I learn from getting it done? And did it help me improve myself going from level 5 to level 6 to level 7? Did I take a step forward? Because that is what's important. That's the philosophy of Kaizen. So now no longer am I comparing myself. If I throw an event and 7 people show up, amazing. That's 7 people. But why was it 7? Why was it not the number that I shot for? Okay, now I can learn, and I got so much better from it. And what's going to happen is that over 2, 3, 4, 5 years of you doing this, incredible things are going to happen every step of the way. Yeah. But just imagine 5 years of you being so consistent. You choosing today to say, wow, I'm going to be a consistent person. My DNA is going to be filled with relentless energy. Yeah. My DNA is going to be filled with discipline. Where now, if I say that I'm going to do something, guys, if I say that I'm going to get this thing done, it's going to get done. But that's because of my years of step by step by step by step, just taking action. And sometimes we haven't been on it. We haven't been doing the things we're supposed to. Let this be a reminder. Today, just get 1% better. And then tomorrow, get 1% better again. And then you're 2% better than who you were before. That's an incredible feat right there. And I want to inspire you to do exactly that.
What's next?
Next is the last piece, guys. We went over the invisible chains, right? How our mind creates its own walls. We talked about the story that you keep repeating to yourself, and we broke through it, right? A lot of you guys wrote down your limiting belief, you crossed it out, and you created a new one. That was number 2. We talked about comparison, the comparison trap, how to stop staring into other people's windows. We talked about 4, which is the unlocking mechanism, right? Small wins build mental freedom. Now, most importantly, is number 5, which is reprogramming the mind. How to replace this mental prison, how to throw it down, demolish it, and put a palace there instead. And I like saying a palace is because when I was building my confidence, I was in a position of consistently thinking of my mind as a place that I can control, right? Think of your mind like a computer. Over time, outdated programs, outdated beliefs, they just need a new update. So I started to do what our minds enjoy the most, which is to visualize, and which is to create a dream, create an idea. So I started to really create the ideal mindset for myself, and tying it back to a palace, I used to think of, okay, how would a king think, right? How would an incredible father who is a king, who is a leader of a country, how would they think? And I started studying people. I started studying emperors. I started studying kings. I started studying incredible fathers, all these incredible men that I would study and borrow their frameworks for how they thought.
Yeah.
And what happened was I started to reprogram my mind to think like, for me, it was damn near a slave, right? Thinking like that all the time. And then starting to design a new mindset, right? You have to visualize the ideal mindset that you want first, just like you're an architect designing a house. It's so incredibly important to look at, what does that house look like before I want to build it? So what does the mindset look like before I want to build it? What type of thoughts live in that palace? What type of thoughts live in that house? And then we have to every day start feeding it with daily affirmations, with some gratitude, and questioning those negative programs that were instilled in us before.
Well, I think the reason that's so important, because as we get closer to the life that we desire, as we get closer to the life that we dream of, it's as if the closer we get, the more the old programming attempts to come up. Have you ever been there? You're almost to run a green light that's turning yellow, and you have that moment of indecision, and you're like, brake, no gas, no brake, and you can literally be a very dangerous thing if you don't pick one side or the other. Mm-hmm. You have that stop and go. And I'm reminded, I was probably 14 years old. We was doing a lot of roofing, maybe 15. I was in my teens, and I never was that afraid of heights. I just get up there, I just pack the shingles up the ladder, and I would roof. And I remember for some reason we went to bid a roof, and it was a steeper roof. It was an 812 pitch for any of my roofing friends. It was an 812 pitch, maybe 912, and I go to get up there, and I'm climbing the ladder, and for some reason, it had been a few weeks since I've been on a roof, and I felt this fear. And right as I started to step onto the roof, it almost overcame me. Like, it was terrifying. I'm like looking down, I'm seeing the ground way down there, and now you have a decision to make. I'm terrified to get on the roof. I'm terrified to go back down the ladder. I'm just freaking terrified. I'm like, well, I'm already here. I'm just going to do it. And I step up on the roof. And I remember as I was climbing toward the peak, like, I don't ever remember being that fearful in my entire life. Yeah. And I had to just take a moment and look around and say, wait a second. I'm sitting here on a roof. It's not falling. It's not moving. Everything is good. Weeks ago, I was walking on the edge with no problem laying shingles. Why am I terrified today? So I had to go through this logical work through to convince myself why I had no reason to be afraid. In this moment, nothing physically changed around me, but the fear now began to alleviate. Now, it was still, for some reason, was a tough day. I don't know if I had something going on in my mind. I have no idea why, because normally it didn't bother me, but I just remember that overwhelming fear. And I think about that in our life. When someone comes to invest in their first real estate, in their first property, when someone goes to do their first private loan deal, when someone goes to invest in themselves for the first time or go to their first event, or when someone goes to partner with someone after they've been burned by a partnership in the past. And we all have that opportunity to become terrified and to say, wait a second, this ain't for me. Or we have the opportunity to say, no, I'm going to accept the new programming that the wealthy Andrew would think. The wealthy Andrew is smart and has no problem hopping on a plane. The wealthy Andrew has no problem hopping on the roof, right? And so if I can step into that future version of myself, that is my reprogramming. The eagle Andrew would fly right now, not listen to the chicken saying, you can't fly, you can't climb. What if you fall? What if this happens? Well, if I fall, thankfully I have wings. So as you start to take that ownership, as you see that thing happen in your life, and you see yourself have new successes, that old fear, that old programming, I don't believe ever totally stops. It tries to find places to re-enter, and it's a consistent battle. It's a constant growth.
Every day
to remind yourself, no, I'm the eagle. I may have grew up around chickens. I may have some chickens surrounding me some days, but I'm the eagle. And I don't say that in an arrogant way. I trust you understand what I mean by that. You're stepping into your power and that version of yourself you're meant to be.
So you have the key, which you've always had. Now it's about using it every single day, right? It's about getting up and saying, you know what? Brush off the crap that has happened to you over the past year, maybe 2 years, maybe the past couple of months. Brush it off and say, okay, you're right. I am that person. Because you are. Yeah. You are that person that has the confidence. You are the person that can dust off all the parts of you that you're insecure about. Yeah. Right? You are that individual. You just have to remind yourself of that today. Right? No fear, and I see it right here. No fear, pure excitement. That's that right. You have towards life. And I just want to, for a moment, share and express gratitude to you guys for putting these comments up, right? Because when me and Andrew did this for the first time, we were scared because nobody was here. And it was just us two, and I think one person, maybe one or two people were on here. And it was scary because, wow, we're about to do this for 365 days and people are going to see that no one's on. That sucks. And then we compared ourselves to the different shows that have thousands of people that are watching every single day. And the reason we did this, guys,
I didn't know we didn't have anybody. I was still
convinced it
was like 28,000 the first day.
I didn't show you anyone that was on.
28,000 a day,
And sometimes I want to pretend that there's a bunch of people on it and not look at it, right? Sometimes I hide who's on here. But just know that we go through the same things. We also have those fears. We also have those comparisons to the big shows out there. We also have those limiting beliefs sometimes. And that's why sometimes 10 minutes before the show, we have to hype each other up of like, bro, we got this. People need this. We're okay. And then I'm like, what are we talking about again? And it's literally 5 seconds before the show happened. I asked, what are we talking about again? For 17 times, like what Andrew said. So I want to shout some of you guys out that are really taking a lot from this. Right, Bill, I know, Bill, you've been on here so much. Bill says, thank you. Thank you to Mary. This show inspires me to be intentionally warm and magnetic, enthusiastic engagement with those who I connect with. Big shout out there. Bill's been on here every single day, and I'm really glad that you're getting so much from it, because that's the biggest thing for us, is that you're able to connect with us, that we're able to connect with you like this. Even though we can't see you, we see everything you guys write. And it really does warm our heart to see what you guys are writing and seeing that you guys are here, because that's honestly how we know that you're here. Mary says, this show is helping me take the time each day to reflect and strengthen my mental focus. So big shout out to you guys for really being here.
Anthony put up a good word of inspiration there.
Anthony, what's up, Anthony? How are you,
brother?
man?
Excited to see you soon, man.
Courage has never been a lack of fear, but moving forward in spite of it.
That's good.
Love it. And that's really what it is, right? It's we're practicing the courage that we want to have for our future families, right? Your future family, my future family, our future children, our leadership, our team. We're practicing that courage of like taking it step one by step, right? We did a live show, right? We're talking to our grandkids. We did a live show one day and we did it for a whole year, and we just shared, even though sometimes we were scared, sometimes we were had that fear come up right before the show, but we did it anyways. So
thank you guys for being here. I think each day is an opportunity for us to share the things that are happening in our world, the behind the scenes, the good, the bad, the ugly. Are running multiple companies, are getting ready for the biggest event yet that we've had. We've got the biggest registration list that we've ever had, which is exciting to me.
Yes, it
and
is.
Excited to see so many of you in person and hang out. I think it's so important, though, that for each of us, I remember when I was 21 and I pray this resonates with some of you, and I was terrified before I started doing real estate, which is kind of what made me a businessman. And that is starting to get deals, finding deals, not knowing how, not knowing what was next, not knowing how to close the deal. Yet I figured out, hey, how do I do this? I'm going to contract the freaking thing. I don't know what's next. And then after that, all right, I got it contracted. Now what do? I'm going to close the thing. And now each step led me to the next step. And before long, one deal turned to 12, turned to 50, turned to over 500, turned to commercial ventures and trailer parks and multi-properties and all sorts of crap that I'm just wake up every day and go, okay, thank you, God.
Right.
And I share that not because it wasn't hard work and isn't still hard work. I share that because 11 years ago now, as of April, 11 years ago, when the first thing that said, oh my gosh, I got to figure out how to get a check. I had no idea that we could begin to build something that would be a foundation and cash flow that would be something that launched us to new levels. And I share that because you may not even realize the decisions that you made last year or that you're making today to go put in the action.
Yeah.
To go text somebody that you care about, to go connect with a buyer or a seller or a lender, or to go make a connect with a business owner. You may buy the freaking business next year.
Yeah.
The steps of a good man are ordered by God. And
Amen.
just be okay with that. And so I really pray and trust that this show, every day as we show up, that you see the little steps that have been happening now for years. You know, we had no idea when we done an Airbnb together years ago that suddenly we own multiple companies and developments and projects and all sorts of stuff together and get to hang out and inspire incredible people every day.
That's right.
But when you take the right step with clarity of your vision, where are you headed and why are you doing it? As long as you stay in that path, you're in the right place. And I know that some of you guys come on here, you're in all sorts of places in life. Some of you are crushing it. Some of you are in the place that I've been in before where you're going, gosh, I just need some room to breathe right now.
That's right.
And wherever you are in that line, just know that we've got you. Know God's got you. Know that you got a whole group of folks on here that's got you. And I'm telling you, we're in this together. And 2025, I believe, is truly going to be your most incredible year ever. So I just ask one thing of you. Keep showing up. Keep spreading the word, because we're going to show up with 200% energy every single day and continue to share insights that help you build your development, build your mind, build your strength, build your consistency, and constantly inspire and lift you up. So I thank you for being here, and we're going to be here for you guys. Keep the feedback coming as we're developing this out in coming days and weeks. We got some very exciting things to come, and if you've not already done it, make sure that you've signed up for the daily reminders.
Absolutely. daily.truka.com. Guys, you got the keys. Now go use them. Use them every single day. I'm so happy to be here with you guys, and we're going to be back here on Monday, same time, 3 p.m. Eastern, and I'm so excited. And if you don't mind, I'm going to pray for us, and we're going to rock and roll. God, thank you for this day. Thank you for all the blessings that you give unto us. God, give us the wisdom, and everyone on this live, the growth and the keys to unlock their limiting beliefs. God, I know that it wasn't you that gave them these limiting beliefs. It was other people in their lives, and they just chose to believe it. God, allow them to break through that. Allow them to break through the mold and break through these barriers that sometimes we bring upon ourselves, and really see what you have given us. You've given us a life where we can be the best version of ourselves, where we can go towards your kingdom, treat people with love, treat people with respect, and really create something incredible where we get to serve so many people. God, give us the direction and the discernment to know it is you speaking. God, thank you for endless journeys every single day, and thank you for giving us this beautiful platform to be able to serve the people on here today. Give us an amazing day. In God's name we say amen.
Amen. Thanks for being here. See you tomorrow.
Peace.
No, we won't. We'll see you Monday.
See you
Monday.
We'll see you Monday.
Same place, same time. Bye for now.
All right, guys. Take care. Peace.